Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news tonight on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds his first bilateral meeting with US President Donald Trump. America clears sale of Predator Guardian drones to India after leaders discuss counter-terrorism. After concluding his two-day visit to the United States, Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in the Netherlands. Meetings with the counterpart Mark Rutte and CEOs of Dutch companies on the agenda. Supreme Court refuses to pass interim order against making Aadhaar mandatory for welfare schemes, extends deadline for filing application till September 30th to prevent anyone from being deprived of benefits. An opposition presidential candidate, Meera Kumar, to start her presidential election campaign from Sabarmati Ashram in Gujarat, will file her nomination for the poll tomorrow. Well, with India and the United States pledging to deepen their defense and security cooperation, America has cleared the sale of Predator Guardian drones to India. The sale builds on the US's recognition of India as a major defense partner. The Sea Guardian unmanned aerial systems will enhance India's capabilities and promote shared security interests. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump struck a common note on terrorism as they met for the first time in the White House on Monday. The two leaders vowed to fight against terrorism, saying it was the top priority. Both countries also reviewed bilateral relations and affirmed their commitment to take the partnership to new heights.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi met US President Donald Trump at the White House on Monday in the first face-to-face meeting between the two leaders. Prime Minister expressed gratitude for the warm welcome extended to him and said he was deeply touched with the grand welcome he and his delegation received during this trip.
जिस प्रकार से मेरा और मेरे डेलीगेशन का भव्य स्वागत किया है, सम्मान किया है, ये 125 करोड़ देशवासियों का सम्मान है। मैं इसके लिए राष्ट्रपति जी का और फर्स्ट लेडी का
It's a great honor to have Prime Minister Modi of India, who has been such a great Prime Minister. I've been speaking with him and reading about you, and you have done a great job.
The two leaders held delegation-level talks and affirmed their commitment to bolster the US-India strategic partnership. Both the countries struck a common note on terrorism and agreed to enhance cooperation in fighting the menace of terrorism, extremism and radicalization. The two leaders also sent out a strong message to Pakistan, asking it to ensure that its territory was not used to launch cross-border terror strikes.
चर्चा की तथा इसमें अपने सहयोग को बढ़ाने की भी सहमति बनाई। आतंकवाद से लड़ना और आतंकवादियों को सुरक्षित पनाहगाहों को समाप्त करना हमारी सहभागिता का एक महत्वपूर्ण भाग होगा।
Briefing the media after talks, US President Donald Trump said the relationship between the two countries had never been stronger and better. Trump also said he was keen to work with Modi on creating a fair and reciprocal trading relationship between the two nations. He also called for a removal of barriers for the exports of US goods into Indian markets.
The relationship between India and the United States has never been stronger, has never been better. I'm proud to announce to the media, to the American people, and to the Indian people that Prime Minister Modi and I are world leaders in social media. We're believers, giving the citizens of our countries the opportunity to hear directly from their elected officials and for us to hear directly from them. I guess it's worked very well in both cases.
Earlier in the day, the Prime Minister also met US Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis and US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. Prime Minister held an extensive discussion on counter-terrorism with Mattis during their meeting. They also discussed the situation in Afghanistan.
There was discussion on counter-terrorism, cooperation in counter-terrorism again. In fact, first because Secretary Mattis's meeting was the first. And there was discussion also on the situation in Afghanistan, and the conversation briefly touched upon how the situation can evolve and what the two countries can do together.
Later in the day, President Trump hosted a dinner in honor of Prime Minister Modi. Modi, who was visiting US for the 5th time in 3 years, extended a warm invitation to President Trump and his family to visit India. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Back home, the opposition criticized the Modi-Trump meet. The Congress said that the Indo-US joint statement was disappointing, stating that it lacked new or big ideas between the two countries. Reacting to the joint statement by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump, Congress leader Manish Tiwari said that the statement emphasized more diversions in the bilateral ties than conversions. The left has also hit out at Modi for not addressing the H-1B visa and climate issues with the US President. Reacting to Tiwari's comments, Union Minister Venkaiah Naidu said that the Congress was guilty of missing out on opportunities during its tenure at the centre.
What is the big achievement of Mr. Modi's visit to US? What about the visa problem that Indian citizens are facing with the American administration? What about the climate summit from which America walked out? Prime Minister joined the American president to identify Islam and terror together and making it as an anti-Muslim issue.
Congress deliberately refuses to see the significant outcome of the successful visit of the Prime Minister. The Congress party is particularly disappointed over the acknowledgement and also the accomplishments of India under the Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Meanwhile, India and Netherlands on Tuesday signed 3 MOUs on management, cultural cooperation and amending social security arrangement. The MOUs were signed in the presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Dutch counterpart Mark Rutte in Amsterdam. Both leaders also reaffirmed their country's commitment towards the Paris climate deal.
On the final leg of his three-nation tour, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held talks with his Dutch counterpart Mark Rutte at Kutschers in The Hague. Both leaders deliberated on a series of bilateral and international issues. Hailing India's economic reforms, Dutch Prime Minister Rutte called India a global economic power.
When it comes to the economy, India's onward development is opening new doors to trade and investments in both our countries. India is now a global economic power. It's the world's 12th biggest economy and has a population of more than 1.2 billion. So the Indian market has a lot of potential.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauded the Netherlands for helping India successfully get a membership of the Missile Technology Control Regime. He also called the Netherlands a natural partner in India's road to development.
भारत और नेदरलैंड के संबंध सदियों पुराने हैं और हमेशा ये संबंध एक मजबूती की राह पर आगे बढ़ते रहे हैं। द्विपक्षीय इन्वेस्टमेंट संबंधों की बात करें तो आज तक कुल मिलाकर नेदरलैंड्स हमारा 5th लार्जेस्ट सोर्स ऑफ फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट है। इनफैक्ट पिछले 3 वर्षों में नेदरलैंड्स हमारा 3rd लार्जेस्ट सोर्स ऑफ फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट बनकर के उभरा है।
The Netherlands is India's 6th largest trading partner in the European Union and a major investor in Indian sectors of technology, energy, logistics, financial services and transport. Trade between the two countries has continued to grow steadily and stood at $9 billion in 2014-2015 with positive balance of trade in India's favor. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the Supreme Court on Tuesday refused to pass any interim order against the centre's notification making Aadhaar mandatory for availing benefits of various social welfare schemes. The court was hearing 3 separate petitions challenging the Aadhaar notification. The petitioners feared that an insistence on Aadhaar may lead to students being deprived of midday meals. Telling the petitioners to find out how many were deprived of midday meals, the court said no order can be passed based on uncertain situations. The centre has said Aadhaar will be made mandatory for availing various benefits such as noonday meal scheme, scholarships, admission, domestic air travel, etc. The centre said it has extended its June 30th deadline of filling Aadhaar applications to September 30th so that no one was deprived of any benefits. The next hearing on the case will be on July 7th. Meera Kumar, the opposition's presidential candidate, on Tuesday said that the upcoming presidential election is not a fight of castes but ideology. Kumar addressed a press conference in New Delhi a day before filing her nomination for the elections. 2 days ago, Kumar also wrote letters to all members of the collegium requesting them for their support.
Opposition presidential nominee Meera Kumar on Tuesday said there is a need to remove the caste structure and caste-based politics. A case in point, she said, is the upcoming presidential election, which shouldn't be seen as a Dalit versus Dalit contest.
तो चर्चा होती कि 2 दलित खड़े हो गए, उनके व्यक्तित्व के बाकी सारे गौण हो जाते। तो समाज किस तरह से सोच रहा है आज 2017 में, इसका आकलन मेरे सामने बड़े साफ तरीके से हो जा रहा है। और मैं चाहूंगी कि अब जाति को गठरी में बांध के और जमीन के अंदर बहुत गहरे गाड़ देना चाहिए।
Meera Kumar said her electoral plank will be democratic values, inclusiveness and social justice. The former Lok Sabha speaker also revealed that she will launch her campaign from Sabarmati Ashram in Gujarat.
Social justice, freedom of press, transparency, end of poverty, destruction of caste structure are some of those cherished values which form important component of this ideology. This ideology is very close to my heart. For this very reason, in the coming election, this will be the plank on which I will contest.
Meera Kumar will face the NDA's presidential candidate Ramnath Kovind. Both Kumar and Kovind are Dalit leaders. While Kumar was the first woman speaker of the Lok Sabha, Kovind resigned as governor of Bihar earlier this month. She will file her nomination papers on Wednesday after being selected as the presidential candidate unanimously by 17 major political opposition parties. The election will be held on July 17th and counting of votes will be on July 20th. Pranav Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha on Tuesday burnt copies of the GTA Accord at several places in Darjeeling. The party said that the burning of the accord signifies total rejection of the treaty in its struggle for separate statehood. The historical agreement was signed in 2011 between the centre, West Bengal government and the GJM. It paves the way for a semi-autonomous body to rule the hills. Earlier, the Morcha organised a rally in the hill town where they broke tube lights on their backs. GJM is also protesting the state government's move to make Bengali language compulsory in schools.
हम लोग अलग अलग रहना चाहते हैं, हम लोगों का भाषा अलग है, संस्कृति अलग है, उसकी वजह से हम लोगों को गोरखालैंड राज्य चाहिए। इसके लिए हम लोग अपना खून भी बहा सकते हैं। ये मैसेज है बंगाल सरकार को।
और आज के बाद यहाँ का गोरखालैंड टेरिटोरियल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का कोई एंटिटी नहीं है और हम लोग नहीं चाहते हैं। और सरकार को, केंद्र सरकार को भी ये बता दे कि आने वाला दिन में सिर्फ एक एजेंडा में हम लोग बातचीत करेंगे और हमारा वो एजेंडा है सेपरेट स्टेट ऑफ गोरखालैंड।
Well, China on Tuesday accused Indian troops of crossing the boundary in the Sikkim region and demanded their immediate withdrawal. It also shut down the Nathula Pass entry for Indian pilgrims travelling to Kailash Mansarovar in view of the border standoff. China also lodged a diplomatic protest with India both in New Delhi and Beijing over the alleged trespassing and demanded a thorough investigation. On Monday night, China refused the entry of Indian pilgrims who enter Tibet via the Nathula Pass, citing safety reasons. The statement came after the Chinese Defense Ministry accused Indian troops of objecting to a road construction in what it claimed to be Chinese territory.
中方在北京和都已经向印度方面提出了严正的交涉，表明了我们的严正的立场。我在这必须强调，中方对发展中印友好关系是有诚意的，同时中方维护自身主权权益的立场也是坚定不移的。
Let's now take a look at some more developments from across the country and nationwide. DMK Working President M.K. Stalin on Tuesday urged Prime Minister Narendra Modi's intervention in expediting the interstate river linking program. He said the initiative will help in tackling many issues, including interstate water disputes, and benefit farmers across the country. He also said that the river linking program needs to be given the topmost priority. Mumbai witnessed heavy rains since last night, leading to waterlogging in many parts of the city. Suburban railway services were delayed in the morning and trains were running up to 20 minutes behind schedule, especially on the Harbour and Central line. Trees were uprooted in 6 places since last night. The Ramkrishnapuram Lake Canal in Hyderabad choked with pollution on Tuesday morning, overflowing with toxic foam. It resembled Bengaluru's Bellandur and Vartur lakes recently. The lake is a part of a catchment area which is attached to the aquifer through which residents of the area get water. The Gujarat High Court granted bail to Vishwa Hindu Parishad leader Atul Vaidya on Tuesday. Vaidya was sentenced to 7 years imprisonment in the Gulbarg Society massacre case after the 2002 post-Godhra riots in Ahmedabad. This was the first time a convict got bail in the case. Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The story we thought we knew. The story of magnificence. The story of bloody battles. Of those who ruled and those who left their footprints. The story charting the course of our past. Talking history on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, Al-Qaeda on Tuesday released a document stating that it will target Indian military personnel and Hindu organizations to revenge killings of Kashmiris. In the document titled Code of Conduct for Mujahideen in the Subcontinent, the group explained its next targets. The global terror group also disclosed its intention of striking at targets inside Pakistan, Myanmar and Bangladesh. Indian security agencies are keeping a close watch on the activities of Al-Qaeda, which has a very different style of working than the ISIS. The report quotes the document as saying, "Officers are a greater priority than soldiers. The greater is the seniority, greater is our priority to kill him. Those officers of the military who have the blood of our Kashmiri brothers on their hands are our targets," unquote. The US today designated Pakistani-based Hizbul Mujahideen chief Syed Salahuddin as a specially designated global terrorist. The move by the US State Department came hours before the first meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Donald Trump at the White House. In a notification, the State Department said Salahuddin, who hails from Kashmir and is based in Pakistan for the last 28 years, has committed or poses a significant risk of committing acts of terrorism. The action came against the backdrop of upsurge in terror activities by Hizbul Mujahideen in Kashmir over the last several months. The move has been welcomed by India, which said it underlines quite strongly that both the countries face threat of terrorism.
The State Department did the designation of Syed Salahuddin of the Hizbul Mujahideen as a specially designated global terrorist. So I think that was a strong signal coming out of the administration that it was committed to ending terror in all forms.
The US warned the Syrian government on Monday that it will pay a heavy price if it conducts a chemical weapons attack. The White House said that it had reason to believe that such an attack is underway. Bombs containing nerve agent sarin were allegedly dropped on a rebel-held town in April. The attack prompted Washington to launch a strike against a Syrian airbase in response. It was the toughest and the first direct American assault on Syria's 6-year-old civil war. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, backed by his ally Russia, however, denied that any chemical attack took place. The White House provided no supporting evidence or explanation on Monday's claims. Well, here's a roundup now of the other international news and global buzz. The joint investigation team summoned Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's daughter Maryam Nawaz in connection with the Panama Papers leak in Pakistan. Maryam is presently in London to attend her son's graduation ceremony and has been asked to appear before the probe team on the 5th of July. Mongolia will hold its first ever presidential runoff on July 9th after none of the three candidates secured absolute majority. The Democratic Party candidate Batulga finished first with 38% votes. 51% votes are required for victory. A news agency in North Korea compared US President Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler amid a high tension between the two nations. This comes after the US condemned the death of its student Otto Warmbier, who was detained for 18 months in North Korea and evacuated in a coma. Queen Elizabeth is expected to receive an 8% increase in income from public funds after the Crown Estate's profits rose by £24 million. The Queen is paid a part of the Crown Estate's profit under the taxpayer-funded sovereign grant. Sovereign grant is also responsible for royal household salaries, official travel and the maintenance of royal palaces. Brazil President Michel Temer was charged with bribery by prosecutor Rodrigo Janot. Temer is the first leader in the country's history to face criminal charges while still in office. For a trial, two-thirds majority in the lower house of the Congress is required to support Janot's charge. Moving on to some sports news now, where ace Indian shuttler Kidambi Srikanth Tuesday said he was focused on regaining a place in the world's top 10 by winning the prestigious World Championship crown. Earlier this month, the world number 11 won 2 titles, Indonesia Open Super Series Premier and the Australian Open Super Series titles back-to-back. Srikanth also thanked Chief National Coach P. Gopichand, the Badminton Association of India and the government for their support. The World Championship crown will start in August. The former Indian cricketer Ravi Shastri has decided to apply for the position of Indian team's head coach. Shastri was the director of the team between 2014 and 2016. He had also applied for the job last year, losing out to Kumble in the end. Kumble resigned as coach of the Indian cricket team last week. Shastri's decision follows BCCI's decision not to renew his one-year contract and invite fresh applications for the post. Here's a roundup of the other sports news in Sports Beat. Senior BCCI official Rajiv Shukla and former India captain Saurav Ganguly are part of a newly formed 7-member committee. The committee will analyze the contentious Lodha panel reforms being opposed by some state units. The committee's mandate is to identify the few critical points in respect to the judgment for the general body of the BCCI. The South African ODI captain AB de Villiers will focus on the 2019 World Cup. The captain had decided to quit Test cricket last year as well, but was told to instead take a one-year break. He is likely to meet Cricket South Africa after the appointment of the new Proteas coach in August to discuss his decision. Srinivas Gokulnath and Amit Samarth have become the first Indians to complete the race across America. The race is considered one of the most excruciating and toughest cycling events in the world. Gokulnath was the first solo finisher from the country. He finished in 7th place overall, followed by Samarth in the 8th spot. Taimu Bakayoko is in London to reportedly undergo a medical that will complete his £35 million move to Chelsea. However, the club's search for a centre-half suffered a blow after Juventus coach Massimiliano Allegri insisted Leonardo Bonucci won't be leaving the club. The club is now focusing on Southampton's Virgil van Dijk, while a bid has also been submitted for Juventus left-back Alex Sandro. Retired tennis great John McEnroe has suggested that Serena wouldn't stand a chance if she competed on the men's circuit. Serena took to Twitter to respond to the comments, asking him to respect her and her privacy as she was trying to have a baby. Well, that's it on this newscast. Good night.